All right. And we are live. The last word with LordCognito, Ebontis, Ty Guy Travis, fresh on that Thursday evening campfire. Feels kind of special, Ebontis. I don't know. It feels kind of special today. How you doing, sir?
It's very special. We have had probably a crazy week in the world of Destiny, but that's not what we're here today. Travis, how you doing? I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm ready to talk to our guest. Let's do it.
Indeed. All right.
That's
why we're all here.
Exactly. So,
Right.
let's roll out the royal carpet and show some love
All right.
to our guest.
Welcome to the Oh, I got you. I got this one. You're good. Welcome to the last word, episode number 274. This week we jumped into the final season of the year. New activities, new stories, and more have arrived in Destiny 2. But we have to put a pin in all of that until next week, because this week we have a very special show for you all tonight. Joining us on the podcast tonight, we have a legend, an icon, and for a short time, a god. And to say the least, we are not worthy, but extremely humbled she has joined us at the campfire this evening. A true performer at heart, our guest wanted to be an actor from the very beginning. What started as conversations with herself on a cassette recorder had its seed planted in a second grade Christmas pageant, began to germinate with a production of Sound of Music, and gathered up nutrients like cello, ballet, and modeling, all coming full circle when an unsuspecting voicemail caught the ear of a new agent, and her career has been in full bloom ever since. Gaming has been an important part of her journey as well, as far back as an early favorite of both hers and mine, by the way, the cute and catchy themed Bubble Bobble. But years later, when she experienced BioShock for the first time, she knew this entertainment medium had become something more and had to be a part of it. And boy, did she ever. Having the guts to basically audition on the floor of GDC to get her first role, and wouldn't you know it, she landed the lead in her very first game. Her passion for her craft is instantly obvious as soon as you hear her work, but the soul of our guest is one of kind, generous, gracious, and a dedication to being the best she can at all aspects in her life. So let's welcome a loving mother who cherishes her road trips with her son, a food lover from the French Quarter, graduated as a rebel from Mississippi, on an extremely short list of people who can say they lost a job to Morgan Freeman, the narrator of Moss, voice of Lighthope, co-creator of The Hive, Omnigul, and the only survivor of the 6 who went down into the pit, the iconic Eris Morn, and the voice of so many other characters I do not have time to list them all. Tonight we have the pleasure of chatting with the one and only Morla Gorrondona. How are you doing?
Oh my goodness. That was amazing. Holy frijoles. Like, I cannot get over. Wow.
Welcome.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. That was gorgeous. What a gorgeous introduction. Like, man, you've like really done your research.
Probably too much, but that's okay.
I mean, I am.
She's a stalker.
I may have crossed over on this one. There's a few things that I know pretty well now.
That was fan-stinkin-tastic. Thank you so much for that. I am so excited to be here. And as I mentioned in my tweet yesterday, that we've been working on this for a while. So I'm so glad that it's all coming together so lovely, so nicely.
Yes, absolute pleasure to have you at the campfire. Obviously, we got a chance. We've been talking about this for some time. We got a chance to meet. I got a chance to meet you, which is awesome. First of all, how are you doing? You know, how is the state? I would say just for you as a voice actor, just all things you're going on. How are you feeling as we wrap 2023, just personally right now in your career?
Goodness gracious! As we wrap 2023, first of all, it's just still seems so hard to believe that it is 2023. I'm still trying to find that missing year, 2020 of 2020. Because 2019 was just such a huge year as well. There was a lot going on, specifically for Eris and for me myself getting to really engage with the Destiny community in such a profound and meaningful way. And so so I'm still recovering from that, all of that kind of disappearing in 2020. But in 2023 there's been a lot of momentum. There's feel like it's been a year of stops and starts for actors on the whole, I would
Fair
say.
enough.
There's just
Fair enough.
and
True.
and I think you know, some hard fights, and I
Mhm.
think that there's you know, I think it's the best thing to come out of all of it, I think, is just shining a light on the value of all actors, and at every level, and I think that I think we've kind of really done that. I think we've really, there's been a lot of encouraging support around the value of what human actors have to offer.
Good point.
I'll leave it there
And we leave
because
it
that's
there.
a whole
Nope,
conversation.
you're good.
No,
You're good.
That is a
you're
very
good.
deep
You're
and
good. That's
long,
very deep.
and I'm just really happy to have some lovely, warm conversations with y'all.
No doubt, no doubt.
Excellent.
Much appreciated. I got to tell you, so I ain't gonna be selfish, so we're gonna open it up.
No, you're good.
Let's start early because I'll get going and it'll be so. Let's start. Travis, everybody
It's
jump
like
in.
Travis.
Yeah.
I spoke for a good minute. Travis, you're
Yes, Travis. What you got, man?
All
What
right.
you got for me?
I have many questions. I
Mhm.
will be the person on the panel asking extremely unconventional questions.
Oh,
Really
great.
That's why we're here.
nothing about your career. I just want to hang out with you. You know, that's really all I'm here for. So yeah. So obviously you're from New Orleans, which we talked about a little bit before the show. I had the really awesome privilege to go and build houses for Habitat for Humanity when I was in college. We were in Jefferson Parish, right outside of Gretna, and
Okay.
so I spent like a summer there building houses for a nonprofit
Amazing.
and developed a love for what is now my favorite food, Creole food. So my first question
Mm.
for you is,
Mhm.
since I know we see eye to eye on this, and I will seek this food out because you can get a lot of good Creole food in the Bay Area because there's lots of different types of people here,
Mm.
but it's frowned upon because we insist on eating healthy in California. And so it's sort of a guilty pleasure. What is your favorite Creole dish?
Mm.
And I would like to know where you stand on the spice level spectrum
Oh
because
yes,
that's extremely important.
especially
Yeah.
here in the last word. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh. Well, first of all, Gretna. I have family in Gretna, actually.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So I spent a lot of time in Gretna. And uh, and actually, technically, I lived in New Orleans proper for many years as well. But I was born and raised in Jefferson Parish in a
That's
little town
awesome.
called River Ridge, which is about 5 minutes outside of New Orleans. But so I can claim both. I can claim New Orleans area and New Orleans proper. And but as far as favorite Creole cuisine, so okay, so we get into the conversation: is it Creole? Is it Cajun? Right? And do we know the
Mm.
difference between the two? And
Yeah.
so I'll just give a little history. So so Creole is going to be has many different definitions, and as far as it pertains to food, if it's if it has tomato, if it's like a New Orleans dish and it has tomato, it's Creole.
Okay.
If it's a similar dish and it doesn't have tomato, it's Cajun. The
Mm.
Creole people
Okay.
and the Cajun people are very
So it's all
they
about the
both have
tomato.
They differ on
well,
one
Creole
fruit.
tomato is a
Ooh.
huge it's a huge
Mm.
it's a big thing. The Creole tomato is indigenous to New Orleans or the New Orleans area. And so yeah, but so Cajun is going to be um French Canadians who left to seek religious freedom and or escape religious persecution and settled in Southwest Louisiana. Creole is going to be more Southeast Louisiana and has more to do with like France French, and then also Caribbean, African, like a huge infusion. So but as far as food is concerned, it's got to have the tomato. And right. And so what do I prefer?
Yes.
What's your favorite?
Now we got our history lesson.
Right, now let me know that. I love gumbo. I'm a huge fan of gumbo. And I have, but I'm very like a very specific type of gumbo. It's got to be from like the one place. It's also on the West Bank where Gretna's on the West Bank. So this place is on the West Bank. It's the place my grandmother used to go to, and like it's
nice.
just I always thought that she made it because she would like warm it in a big giant pot. And she never tried to claim that she was making it, but that's just what we would see when we would show up at her place. And so but no, it's like, oh, Nana's gumbo is wonderful. Like, oh, it's not really Nana.
It's not.
But
Truth be told,
someone's Nana
that's
probably.
like, well,
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah, that's probably
It
true.
was someone's Nana. It was
Yeah.
someone's.
It's someone's Nana made it, right?
yes.
But that works out, Nana is no longer with us, but the gumbo remains. So
That's great.
yeah,
It's a
gumbo
tradition.
is my favorite. And as far as spice is concerned, it doesn't need to be too spicy. It's not about spiciness. It's about seasoning and layering and like
he likes this.
creating
I'm good with
flavor. It's not
spices
just
and
about like
seasonings. Yeah.
hitting you in the face with a whopping heat. The exception for me would be for a crawfish boil. Those, the hotter, the better. So.
Interesting.
I'm like that with jambalaya, which is my favorite.
Oh, I love
dish.
jambalaya.
Yeah.
If I'm
Do
not
you like
crying
yours with
into
tomato or without tomato?
I actually, I think it
He's like, I
does
don't know.
So I learned a recipe while I was down there, and I'm pretty sure my recipe has tomato in it, but I didn't know the distinction. So this is new information to me.
Creole
So
jambalaya.
I guess it's a Creole jambalaya, but I was taught by this old lady who taught me the recipe that the secret ingredient was added when you cry into it because it's so spicy while you're eating it. That's the extra salt.
That's the extra.
That's the extra salt kick you get. At the
You
end
are
of it.
ridiculous.
And I love spicy food, so that was right up my alley. Oh, yeah.
Now we finally figure out when Travis cries. We got it. Okay.
Yes, now we understand.
Just the spicy food.
It's just the spice. My stepdad is Cajun, so his jambalaya, he makes an amazing jambalaya, but there's no tomato, which is my preferred way.
That's your preferred Creole.
Interesting. Okay.
Eat what you got. I'm bubbling.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Right, that's the other thing. It's food. If it's like, I'll eat it. If it's food, I'll eat it. That's the other side.
That was kind of one of the things I gathered is that if there's not a food, there's not a food you won't try, won't eat. Basically, there wasn't much.
Oh, hold on. We got to give a special shout out. CJ Gibson's in the chat, yo. The legend himself, my fellow Destiny controller player,
of course,
on PC. CJ, it's good to see you, brother. Awesome to see you in the chat.
We were talking about you.
Yeah, you got a little pre-show shout out, sir.
Yep. Much love.
Much love.
Good guy. Solid.
TJ's the man.
Good guy. Yep.
He's the man.
Bringing people together.
We worked in the IGN office together for years. I did a raid with his kids once in the IGN office. Good times.
His kids, by the way, are spitting images of him. If you've seen him on Twitter,
they are. It's like
100%.
Yeah.
Control for life, he said. And remember the Trav, the good old fire team chat days and the arguments. That's OG right there, veteran. I just want to get right into it, boy. Like, Season of the Witch. I got to jump into it. I mean,
this is going all over the place today. So
yeah, we're gonna be all over the place. We're gonna go for food. We're gonna go for everywhere.
Perfect for me.
So
I'm about it.
To see Eris's journey, and the transformation, obviously getting into the whole thing with Zivu or Wrath, but just this role and where you took the character, I felt was absolutely amazing. We really got to see a different side of Eris as well as the relationship with Ikora. So I guess my thing was, how did you prepare once you get the information from the team, and you see this is where it's going this season? How did you prepare for this type of Eris? Because I've never seen, she was combative, she was fierce, ferocious, she was ready to take it to that next level, to do whatever she had to do. Even Ikora was a little nervous, like, is this a little bit reckless? What we're doing? How did you get into that whole mindset with Eris last season?
Well, I have my have my like it used to be that I would go through this whole entire process of like discovering Eris and like finding her through music and through like emotional recall
The song "In
and
This Dance, Dead Can Dance,"
that's
perhaps.
right. That's right. That's exactly right.
Told you I
And
found too much info out.
no, it's great. That's wonderful. And that is still true. Like I still that is a part of the process of just preparation for any Eris session and how like I tap into the voice and how like it's become I've done it so many times now. It's like access to her is it's very easy. Like I feel like I wear her just below my skin or
Sounds like she's ready to
maybe
come out now.
well, and I feel
Third eye
like
opens
there's
up.
been kind of meldings as well. Like I feel like, where she ends and I begin sometimes kind of I don't we've had very similar journeys in our lives. So I identify and relate to her and so I have very swift access to her.
Mm.
And so far as this new season, the real stuff, there's a lot of there is preparation, especially for this year. I was so grateful that I got to do the performance capture for her for
Yes.
those scenes, and that was a whole separate kind of preparation. I worked I worked with someone to help me with the memorization of it because I just wanted to make sure that I had it. Like I just worked very hard on making sure that there was nothing going to stand in the way of making those performance capture sessions just the absolute best they could possibly be. And so that, and then as far as the content, like the
Yes.
emotional journey,
Mm-hmm.
It's always a gift with Eris script, and I feel like without it's just even more so this one. There was something. It's Eris is always very evident. Like who she is and what's going on with her is built into the script, and
Right.
I feel like even more so as of late. There's I always feel like she's in incredibly good hands, and I can always just show up and just trust what's on what the text is. I
With the
can
text
just
and the script. Yeah.
trust that whatever the script conjures is whatever emotions come up from what it is that I'm reading or have read, that it's right, that it's all intentional. And so there were times where I was just absolutely overcome. And it's like, well, that just kind of showed up, and that's what's right for her. And as far as being the hive god portion
You had a
of
big
there's just
transformation last
it's so
season.
wild because it's like I know I'm telling it in pieces and parts, but there's so many
much.
different
Yeah.
things going on with her that and there's so many people contributing to who what makes that possible. And I like her voice is like it's coming from me, but it's the voice of a lot of
Right.
incredibly talented individuals creating that written voice that like and it's going to sound straight, like that visual voice, like, you know, like the thing that the way she looks contributes to the voice itself, right? So yeah, how she looks is absolutely informed instantly how she sounds when she's like contorting and conjuring, like and breaking and cracking through like some exoskeleton. It was what a feast, what a
You
joy, what
oh
a
man.
gift.
I love it. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I could really like, we could spend hours just talking about this last season. It's I just feel I just feel so lucky. I feel so lucky to have this whole journey, but then in this most recent part, this incredible, I never would have imagined that that's where she was going to go with.
Yeah, okay.
But
I got it. So you're just as surprised as us as we see this journey, this transformation, and yeah, what I felt I got from it was like a calculated means to an end, and pushing herself to go there, right? To go to this place, you know, narratively, and with the whole, you know, seasonal story with Xivu Arath versus Aerith, and then obviously what we concluded with Savathun, which I thought was really amazing. But it gave me a different glimpse of the character, and I thought it was really cool to see how you expressed it, to how you brought that forth, and yeah, I was just like, okay, she's going to go there. Like whatever we have to do for our survival, you were ready to do that. And I thought that was awesome.
Like, trust, right? Because that's the thing that she says is like trust. It's there is this it's interesting. There's been this theme of surrender, right? That once again, like talking about how in Eris's life and in my life, there's these interweaving patterns. There's this theme of surrender in my life, like letting go of the things that I can't control. Just like surrendering that things are going to work out fine, surrendering, trusting the fact that I whatever thing that it is that I get nervous about, and then you get like you get so nervous about it, or you like try to make things work that aren't working, and then you just at some point you have to surrender and trust that it will, that what is best will happen. And so it's interesting that there is this also, like, she surrenders to, she has a plan, she's calling on everyone to trust her, and then she's surrendering to this
the seance,
calling,
the ceremony, the calling,
surrendering to the spirit, surrendering to this to her highest being, to her highest self, finding joy and like revelry and like in this conquering power. You know, that's like, that's a scary thing to tap into.
Yeah, I was a little worried. I thought you might stay there. I was a little worried you wasn't going to come down from that. I was just saying, we is this her villain arc? I was like,
right. Morla has stayed there. I'm just going to stay there forever.
There you go.
So just so you know.
So I'm a little curious though. Oh, go ahead, Travis. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I called Eris the George Washington of the Destiny universe because she had all that power, but was like, you know what?
Yeah. She's like, I'm
let
good.
it ride.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Absolutely. 2 terms and I'm out. Let's do it. Let's get rolling. Yeah.
Also, little known fact, she has wooden teeth.
True. Yeah.
Kidding. That was a George.
Come on, that would be great. That would be great. Yeah.
Sorry,
that was good. I liked it.
That was not lore. That
was not lore. Lord guys that do not put that in no fake grimoire and come up with a video that we heard.
It's going to be a website like Ishtar Collective. Eris has wooden teeth reference on episode number. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
George Washington's teeth were actually horse and donkey teeth and slave teeth.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Those are his real teeth.
That's
They're in a museum. and they're
You
crazy.
really are bringing stuff from all over. From all over. Non sequitur.
Fun fact.
Fun
Fun
fact.
facts of the night with Travis.
Wow. Wah, wah.
Here, well, it's true.
No, but I kind of wanted to ask you, as we're like in this space with Eris right now, when you're reading those words, it's like we figure them out. I don't know how long the difference in time when you record versus when we get them, but you're going through the journey kind of the way we do is we're hearing it, what your performance is, but you're reading those words probably easily in Eris's voice. I'm sure that voice just rolls around in your head. But when you read those words in the script and see where the writers take those moments where she becomes the god, and then you realize what she did to Ziva Wrath, and then the fact that to do what she did, she turns around and had to kill Sabbath. Like, what goes through your head when you're reading those words? Just thank you for these words. Like, now I gotta digest. Like, how does all that come to you with the script? Like, how does that process through you?
I think about it. Well, I don't do a whole lot of thinking about it. I do a lot of feeling about it. And whatever I feel my way through this script, and I'll make sure I understand what the the tone is and what the goal is. But I feel like they just do such a great job of making that evident. The thinking that is done is like, how can I best serve? Like, how is she changing, and how much do I change my actual voice to match that? Like, what is the energy? How do I change my energy? How do I change my pitch? Or, she's got a very specific cadence. I call it Eris pentameter instead of iambic pentameter. So it's Eris pentameter, and
Nice.
so there's just words that present themselves as ones to linger on, and I love that she can, and that I do, and it's like. It's where the lilt comes in. It's like
There it is.
like
It
like
is. It
the
is.
it's this
Talk
little
there.
it's this like feeling the full weight of any given word. Yeah, that's just the process. I just kind of let her speak.
Fair enough. No, it makes sense. I want to shift gears slightly because again, tremendous season. I can go on and on about that. I did want to talk about obviously the tremendous cast that Destiny has, right? Just tremendous talent, and just obviously, I'm a big, full disclosure, I'm a big fan of Oded Fair, who is, I believe, who plays the Osiris character. I'm a huge fan of his, and obviously the talent you have amassed. But I wanted to know, like, how did the community, is it like a fraternity in the sense of, we lost the great Lance Redding, and I know he does so much, right? But for the Zavala character and the community, that's the community, really hit home. And I just wanted to know, like, from a voice actor perspective, one of your own, how does that hit the industry, and just in general, any Lance memories or interactions that you remember?
I was never fortunate enough to meet him. And so but it's this strange thing where, like, our characters knew each other, and
Right.
And he seems to be very much his character, and I am oftentimes very much my character. And so it's this strange thing of, like, I never met him, but my character knows him so well. And it's like we've it would never take the place of knowing him, and it's not the same at all. And I don't try to
Fair.
claim any kind of knowing or knowledge of him at all, but it does feel this strange kind of thing where like our characters knew each other, and like our characters being similar to each other, and they lived in this universe and spent so much time together, and it's like I feel this tremendous loss, and at the same time I feel like I really can't like I also like I can't I didn't really know him,
Right.
so
That's fair.
It's a strange space because I feel like I knew him so well, but I
No, that's what I was wondering. How you process?
Know him.
Yeah.
I didn't know him at all. Not really.
I mean,
but it was incredibly. It was like when I found out, it was absolutely shocking, and the timing of it was incredible. That's for another day, but it's it was devastating. It was devastating.
Yeah.
And a shock. And I mean, it's so weird to say that I miss him when I've never met him, but I do. I miss him.
I think that's how a lot of the Destiny community feels. I mean, the average Destiny player has never met Lance Reddick, but they still feel like he was a part of the Destiny community, whether it was, interacting with his character or just the fact that he interacted with fans, just like you do. He would
just like you do.
He would post tweets of himself playing, the sections of Destiny and mouthing the voice lines and stuff like that. And those of us who I got to meet him because he was on our old show, Fireteam Chat. And those of us who got to know him just understood that he was a real one, right? And so it feels like, I think we totally get that. Other players of Destiny get what you're feeling of
absolutely.
You don't need to know him sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the fact that it's been a 10-year franchise, and he's been one of the main staples since the beginning. I mean, so if you didn't know him before, and then you've seen movies and you appreciate his performance before, and you're just listening to Lance Reddick when you walk up to Zavala and you kind of know it's there. It's weird because I don't remember the timing of when he passed versus when I went to go see John Wick 4. And I'm not going to say any spoilers or anything, but I thought it was close, and then I went to go see it. And if you've seen that movie, you know what happens in there. And it hit on a different level in there. And and this is still the character. So whether it's Zavala, whether it's and all you ever heard about him was just the nicest guy in the world. So it's kind of one of those, from what you're saying, it's like you don't feel like you can claim that you knew him, but there's still a part of you that feels like there was loss experienced, and it's kind of hard to put that into words.
Yeah.
So true.
I just always thought for sure I would meet him. It was just like I knew it was just a matter of time, and so I'm really sad about that too.
Yeah, rest in peace, Lance. Definitely a treasure to the community. Wanted to follow up on a different question in reference to, I consider you such a talented creative. You're just, you're oozing talent and all the diversity of roles. And I look at your history, I'm like, wow, she's done that. She was a part of this. She was in my Starfield. I'm like, I ran to one of your NPCs in New Jameson. I'm like, there she is. It's so cool. So it's like, I guess the question I have for you, because obviously we all associate you with Eris, but sometimes, Travis, you ask an actor and the fans are like this, the fans say the character is this is their favorite, but sometimes that's not the creative's favorite. And I was just curious, if you have some unsung heroes, or if it is just Eris, that's fine too. But who do you feel like you either don't get enough credit for, or you connect with the most out of all the roles you've done? You've done a lot.
Well, I do feel an incredibly special connection with Eris. It's undeniable. I mean, we've poured so much of ourselves into each other that I feel bound. I feel bound, like happily bound to her. Some other favorites though for sure is the Moss franchise has
yes.
been was just
That's my favorite.
absolutely just a journey of serendipity and magic and love and trust and surrender. In fact, there was a breakthrough that I had in like an acting and emotional and performance breakthrough that I had in the middle of a Moss session that absolutely has informed every single one of my performances since, including Eris. Just like the just like an emotional access, like a way of like of allowing myself to be even more fully emotionally present in the midst of a scene, knowing that eyes are on me, and just allowing myself just to like let it all happen.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and full of that team, the Polyarch team is full of dear friends, and it's been it is born out of and steeped in this beautiful bedtime ritual that I have with my son. It's just like bedtime story, but it's like a special little ritual that we do. And then here I am being the narrator, and it's all very connected to it's so easy these days. Just to it's all very connected to that and to my son from like baby to now. I still read to him now as an 11-year-old.
That's a good performance.
He probably doesn't
Imagine being a kid. Imagine being a kid getting a story read to you by an S tier voice actress. That's great, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, my parents couldn't even read. Like that's next level, dude. That's crazy.
Well, what was really fun about Moss too is that they gave me such early access to the script, and they knowing about this bedtime ritual that I have with my son, that I got to read the script to him as his bedtime story, and he was like, he would give feedback. He's like, I think his voice should be like this, and I don't understand this part of the story, and like, I'll let them know.
Did you get to collaborate with that kind of early access? Did you get to collaborate and work with feedback and stuff like that on Moss too?
Yeah, absolutely. Even more so. Like it worked. We, it was such a great story. Stephen Hottie was the audio director there at the time, and he asked me, he's like, if in best case scenario, sky's the limit, what would be your ideal VO situation? I was like, well, early access to script. I would love to collaborate. I would love to, have table reads. I'd love to, feel like I'm a part of the team. And he's like, great, done. Let's do it. And like, wow.
Awesome.
And so when it came from Moss 2, it was like, let's go even further. Let's bring you on board even more. It was really, 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 really dream come true kind of stuff.
I mean, it was so awesome and so cool that you got to collaborate more with it. It culminated in Moss 2 winning the VR Game of the Year. How does that feel as a team?
Oh my gosh.
To be a part of something like that.
So exciting. It was great. Yeah, I was very exciting. And so many awards. Yes. We won for best dialogue for an indie game at the Game Audio Network Guild Awards.
They need to hire you. You see what happens when she get more creative involved. Y'all see where the awards is going, y'all. I'll be a messy. Continue.
I mean, no, say it louder, please. Yes.
I'm just saying, whenever she's a part, you give her more creativity. Look what happened to your game. I'm just saying.
Let's say that. Let's say that more.
There you go.
I don't disagree. Yeah, no, it was yeah, it was emotional. I mean, and for me, that's like the barometer of greatness to me personally. It's like the more emotional, the more that it um elicits this response in me, the deeper it is, the more connective it is, like that's the barometer of greatness for me. So um yeah,
Respect.
that was wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well, you
Well
mentioned
deserved.
it was like you mentioned
I-
Stephen Hottie, and from my little bit of research,
Just a little bit.
it actually, I think the culmination of you guys coming together for Moss 2 to get, the awards that you guys got, but to work so closely together from how you guys started to get where you are now, like the journey that you've been on, because I'll let you tell it because you'll tell it better, but to go all the way from kind of becoming friends at GDC to going to this, moving to the same place and then working on a game, creating a character, and then all that's like, he's been a big piece of what it sounds like that you've got a chance to be a part of. And I think that's really cool that you've got someone that you've been able to share that, because one of the things I've heard you mention multiple places is kind of audio and sound design paired with voice work. When those come together is one of those things
Mhm.
that it sounds like you've really enjoyed, and like him being a collaborator to be able to do
Yeah.
that. So I was like, I don't want to spoil the story. So like if people kind of want to get the idea to end up somewhere, getting VR game of the year and ending up in Moss 2, how did it all begin?
It just it starts with a gesture, and Stephen was presenting his demo at the Game Audio Network Guild Sound Design Demo Derby at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, which is a huge, like a cornerstone of how I
GDC.
would create work for myself, right? And still do. It's still an essential tool in my toolkit. And I love sound design. And I feel like in a different life I'd be like a Foley artist, because I love creating sound. And I just so happen to love creating sound with my mouth most of all. So that works out great. So I specifically love the space where sound design and voiceover merge, and that shows up in like creatures or animals or baby cry or you know tennis matches. Anyway, so Stephen was so I was there because I love sound design, and he was there presenting the demo derby to get feedback, but also, to find work. And he had just made a big life decision that this is where he was going to put all his energy. And like a few years before, I had just made the same decision about like games is where I was going to put all my energy. And the short version, too late. The short version is he at the very end, I really enjoyed his demo, and so at the end I handed him my card. He was like sitting out in the hall afterwards. I handed him my card. And I said, look, I know that VO and sound design don't really very much have an opportunity to work together, but I love this space. And if we ever do get a chance to work together, that'd be really great. And we kept in touch like a little bit over the next couple of years. And then we met up at GDC again. And we like, turns out he's like, I've got big news. Like, I've got big news. And it turns out that both of our news was that we were moving to Washington at basically
Wow.
the exact same time.
Wow.
Just like a neighborhood away from each other. Like, what?
Crazy.
So, like, fast forward a couple years later, he's like, hey, remember that thing about like getting a chance to work together and that like probably never would happen? He's like, well, I think I found that opportunity. And he's like, how would you feel about coming in and just like playing around and helping create the sound of like the big bad the main bad guys in this game. It's they're called the Hive.
Yes,
and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. So we just spent screeching and making sounds, and it was wonderful.
So I was wondering, I'm like,
fun.
are you just like make all the noises you can, and then he's just messing with like pitch and tone and length and are you just is that just how long? What is?
No, it's just like raw. Just like there's no futzing with it in the session. It's just like this is what. You see, I remember him saying this. He swears he never said this, but I could not have come up with this by myself. He said something about like, imagine it's like you're in an old, cold, decrepit library, and and there's like these books, and like you shoot the book, and the book disintegrates. He's like, that's what I want it to sound like, and I'm like, great. So he's like that. He's like that. That didn't happen, Morla. I'm like, I know, I didn't.
That's hard to make up. That's hard to make up.
I did not come up. So basically, what it came to was like a dry, like kind of, and then the other side of that is like the screeching sound. So they're like inhalation, like that's how I interpret it. Inhalation and like death, like skeleton, like not
very uncomfortable. Yes.
Yeah. And then the other side is like the like screechy, and then there's the very last creature that we did that day was Omnigul. And it was just like, how high pitched can you make that sound?
Oh man.
Like, all right.
Oh, you went
I'm like,
there.
I think I've got 3 in me. So I gave 3 and was like, that's it. That's what we got. And then from that, there was I got a request for an audition, and it was like, well, there's something about like there's some sort of symmetry to this idea that the character who lived with the Hive is voiced by the same person who voiced the Hive, that kind of thing. So
nice.
Yeah. But I did have to audition.
Wow.
I did audition for her.
That's awesome. The process, I was gonna ask, in terms of like from back then to now, like you sitting there, you're telling us like how you got into that place and things he was describing of what the Hive he feels should be. Like, how do you operate without like a visual representation? Like it from the like I find that so amazing.
Fingertips on my mind kind of thing.
Into a place without a visual storyboard or the artist render and say, okay, this is how it's going to look. This is what's going on. Or this is what's going to be. Like, how do you do that?
Rendering, an image does help for sure, but so much of it's so much of the work that I do with like my friends. We get together and we do my friends, my fellow voice actor, my colleagues, we spend a lot of time working together on things like like imagination. Like, let's find things that are creative. Like finding so much of it is imagination. It's just like just having a very bright, vivid imagination. And as we get older, it's sometimes it's harder to do that. So like my colleagues will get together, we'll like do things to help fuel those juices. Like
we do a creature of the day. What we do?
Sometimes a lot of it's like improv is like a big factor in that. Some of it's like just
improv.
That's
She's got a little theater comedy background. I know she does.
That's all. That's the improv guy.
Nice. It's a bit, I like it. Sometimes it's just like going over various like finding a character and just like making big bold choices with it. Like, here's somebody will like present a character, like here's this character, these are the descriptions, like do something big with it. And like they come up with something because it's like audition, it's like the
improv.
It's just all it is. So much of it is improv and
that's a skill.
like going with like,
can I get an ayat?
Nice.
Yeah, vivid, like all these different things that we can do to fuel our childlike imagination. So play, coloring is a thing that I will just like kind of get into sometimes. Just like, just be fun, have fun, like and not even necessarily like fun, because it doesn't have to be like fun. Sometimes it's just like stop second guessing yourself and judging yourself and your thoughts and like your decisions about things. And that's hard. Like that's hard to do, especially when you're so much of an actor's job is auditioning and like trying to guess at what it is that you think that they may want, and then like second guessing it, and then like, and the secret to that always is, and it's something that I feel like all actors constantly need to be reminded of, is like it's not about chasing down the thing that they want, but being the thing that they didn't even know that they wanted in the first place.
Those
Which
bars
is
right there.
That's the quote
right?
of the show.
Which is you. It's always
yeah.
you. It's always the thing that is you. It's just, sometimes it's just not always easy to remember that like every day. So it's like, it's good to have a team of people that you get to play and work with we help each other. We remind each other of that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That was great on the process. Travis,
do you have another curveball?
I got a pointless question. Here's a pointless
There
question.
are no pointless questions.
A couple seasons ago, Destiny. Maybe I'm alone in this. I don't believe I'm alone. But I sensed some distinct sexual tension between Eris Morn and the Drifter, and I'm wondering, A, do you ship them? B, were you intentionally trying to put on some flirtatious energy there, or am I simply a thirsty bitch?
I mean, the last sentiment, like clearly yes, but
obviously.
Travis has been called out. Check. All right, now that's clear.
That was being called a thirsty bitch by Morla was actually on my bucket list.
There you go.
I'm
We made it.
feeling pretty good.
Cross that one off. Yes.
Travis invented the show.
Good night, everyone.
Let's talk about that relationship.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to hear what y'all think. We know what
I
you're
think.
Go ahead, Trav.
I think Drifter was spitting game at Eris, and Eris did not seem that resistant to it.
Yes.
That was what I got from some of that dialogue. She was kind of like, I mean, maybe buy me a drink first was kind of the energy she was giving off.
Well, I feel like they've both been through. We don't know as much about Drifter's journey, but we know he's been through a lot, and we have a better idea of what Eris has been through with the Dark Below and everything like that. But it feels like they're kind of outsiders, but they also both understand each other, kind of on a, and that's kind of where, is it platonic? Is it a little more? And that's where the line was kind of towed with, and you were wondering, I know you guys have an understanding, but it's also, can't tell if it's brother-sister understanding, where it's like, yeah, we get it, we've been through it all together, or different type. So that's kind of how I see him.
That's how you process.
I don't call my little sister Moondust.
Hey, girl.
That's all I'm saying, E.
I mean, you might if she lived on the moon for a while.
She's got a point.
She got a point. No, I would Trav. Like it was a pleasant surprise that I didn't see coming, because I saw the relationship obviously was in a Beyond Light. You start to get the characters who, I want to say the outsiders, right? But they're not the in the tower dwelling characters.
We had like the other Vanguard, we almost called them.
It was like the other Vanguard that is willing to do what is necessary for the survival of humanity, right? And during those interactions between Eris and the Drifter, I'm with Travis. I felt the Drifter was spitting game to her. And at first, the vibe I got from Eris was like, I see through you. I'm not really trying to, like looking at him is like not insignificant, but like, I know you, right? Kind of thing. And for whatever reason, I got the sense that he got a little turned on by that. For some reason, like someone that could see through him because the way she talks to him is different than any other character. But as it went on, I was like, well, maybe she's just annoyed by him. But as it went on, I'm like, no, there is something here. There is a little emotional thing here that is a respect as well as a little bit more flirtation. So now that we have our theories, where are you at with this as the voice?
Also, before you answer, I wanted to ask, do you do this in collaboration, like looking at each other, or are these independent? I was just curious.
They got to be independent.
Got to be independent, right? There's a COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, most in video games, almost everything is always done in isolation.
Okay. Yes. Sorry, just
yeah. So when he was spitting that game, where were you at with this? We gotta have the real
questions. Was to answer that to see if maybe we wouldn't come back to it. But okay, we're doubling down. Okay.
Yes, Travis started it.
I didn't know this was going to be a controversial question. This is a softball, friends.
I think. Well, I think that I like the not being. I like the wondering and the kind of the not overtness of the whole. You know, I like that. I like that it elicits this kind of conversation and the wondering of it, and I think that is its own merit.
That was the voice actress
equivalent.
Do things
need to be defined?
That you just said a magician never reveals her secrets in a different different way.
It's masterful just now.
But I also the reason I
would you really want to hear like a definitive answer, because that would just
we don't need labels.
Even if you were playing it that way, Bungie could always just say like, oh, retcon, or she's out of his league now because she became a god, so now she only dates gods. That's a fair assumption. But yeah, I don't know. That's your answer is fine.
I think our spying ears have heard enough of their conversation, and we should let their
all right, we're gonna let it
their
develop.
friendship
We've read the text.
be, give them some privacy.
All right, you're right. We was in their DMs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You was gonna ask something else.
Once we get a lore tab where the Drifter's texting you up, I think then we can call it a day. Be like, all right.
Okay, that would be a little more clear, but I don't see the writers going quite that far.
Hey, they did it with Shax and Marasov, so you never know, dude. You never know.
That's a whole different thing. No, the reason I kind of wanted to ask the question I did for the independent recording is it just goes to show what you guys are capable of doing as voice actors to convey the depth and emotion, the teasing that is there and isn't there, and whether it was conscious or not, what you have done with that character, and then what, I don't remember the Drifter's actor's name, but what you two have done, whether it's unknowingly and it just works out really well, or intentionally and kind of a both, just to be in separate places and have that come together the way we're listening to everybody like speculate about it is actually really, really cool. And just that still goes to show the amazing talent that you guys have as voice actors, and especially you with Eris. You can kind of do what you want with her. As you've said, she comes to you now, but it also seems like you can take her in kind of a lot of different places that we may not expect. So I just hope we get to continue to see this journey that we've been on with her. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you. Me too. I mean, it's like it's humanity, right? It's her humanity is that she is not one dimensional. She is the better we know her, the more we understand her and see that she's very multifaceted, and that that's I love that this steely exterior has these moments of melting and reveal, and then hiding, and then godlike, and then like a literal exoskeleton, and like this, all these different things, and meanwhile she is all just her, it's all true, it's all her all the time. You
Yeah.
know, the same way that we are also have hard exteriors and we reveal and then we back away from it. And then we disappear for many, many
Mhm.
years and then come back.
Right.
Depends on how the
No,
seasons go, right? No.
no, that's,
Yeah,
oh,
I had something go.
you sure? 'Cause
No, yeah, I was
I
like, I
don't know.
blanked. I know I had
No,
something.
that's cool. Yeah, I got something. For me, the iconic line for Eris, because it is a tragic tale, right? It is initially a tragic tale that she endured and became something great as a result. And the classic line: "The six of us went down into the pit." Right, and I think the whole Crota raid and everything, and then I got my Shadowkeep shirt on, and the reason why I have it on is for a reason. Is because salute, I see you. The reason why I have the Shadowkeep on is because it took that experience from the initial Destiny 1 of what we know she suffered down there to now go to the moon and to be tormented by the people you lost. And I remember her making peace with each member of the fire team. How did you connect emotionally with that aspect? Because I know six of us going down to the pit means a lot to you personally, based on your history and Katrina and everything there. So how did you deal with that emotionally?
Um, it's interesting. Again, it just really came at a time when I personally felt like I was being um haunted by ghosts, obviously not literally, but like I had like um just some people in my life who like were no longer in my life but just kept they were around and they like I would try to shed them and they just even if they weren't physically present or weren't trying to be present, they were in my head. Like, I just had a really, really hard time shedding them. And 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 it was uh people that I loved. And
Mm.
so it felt very like, wow, again. She's like, I don't know how they know at Bungie what is specifically going on in my life at any given moment.
But
Decide to
they're good
write.
at it.
They just like write for what's going on in my life, and
Mm.
so it really was very just pulling from that. Like I um just absolute heartbreak,
Yeah.
and wanting to going through this process of like healing myself from that and still like no matter what just kind of having that heaviness, that weight, that like that feeling. It's like you just want to like stop thinking, like tell yourself to stop thinking about somebody, and of course it's all you could do is think about them.
Of course.
So
I mean,
yeah.
the line, the way you gave the line of the insufferable one,
Yes.
I'm not even gonna. It's so. I mean, it's just iconic to me, just the way it was said in the moment. Now you're describing that even more. I'm like, that comes from somewhere real. And the way you described it definitely sounds it. But when you're in that moment, the way it comes through, like, I think it, outside of, I still love the Get Your Rock Off My Map. That's still a classic one. That one still cracks me up. But that one, it felt, there are certain things I actually got done playing Alan Wake somewhat recently. And there's one scene in a train car, the sound cut like to my core, whether it's uncomfort or just the raw emotions. And that's kind of how that scream felt when it's like you're all insufferable, when you're screaming at everybody and they back off. And that's when you said the writers have hit the nail on the head, you're kind of going, can you not spy on me? Because this is a little too close. But when you're able to pull a performance out like that coming from somewhere, is it, try to figure out the right way to phrase this. Is it easier to pull from something real, but is it also somewhat emotionally taxing on you when you're done to go through something like that? Does that make sense?
Yes, and yes.
Okay.
And it's this kind of trick of like wanting to identify and relate to the character, but not wanting to use your emotions as like, or your experiences as like tools. Like you don't want to minimize them or diminish them, but it's more this like this, for me at least, it's this balance of like using my humanity to identify with her being whatever character, a character's humanity, and and the goal is to give over to the character's humanity. So it's not just me being upset about some people who are like hanging over me, but it's me knowing that about myself and having that in my experience, but really identifying Eris's experience in that moment and like placing myself in her experience. So because it's I don't want to ever like use a trick, like an emotional trick, so that I keep referencing it so much that it becomes like worn over and stabbed or coarse, like it's too thick of a layer around it from accessing it too much, so that it's not, so then my real human Morla's experience with it is distanced, does it make sense? Like
Yeah.
like we can access these things, but if we keep like accessing them to like elicit a feeling, to do this thing that's not really connected or like not really it has to be given over to the character, otherwise it just feels it feels like it's cheapening the personal experience.
Nope, that
But by
makes
doing it this way, it just like it's adding, it's like, I don't know, like I don't know, it's like a bit of magic. It's hard to really like define it. It's just a thing that kind of happens that feels like it's being done in a way that is honoring my experiences without cheapening them at all. Not just like hanging them out to dry or parading them out for everyone to see. That it's in service. It's in service of telling a story, of having of connecting to humanity better.
Yeah. I mean, in chat, somebody was saying becoming apathetic to our core experiences is a scary thing, and you're kind of talking about you don't want to develop emotional scar tissue per se to have it grow over because something like that. So.
Beautifully, concisely said. That's concisely, beautifully said. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've had a heavy episode so far. I'm enjoying the journey. I'm loving it.
I can bring the levity.
Oh, I'm a little scared of asking Travis for levity. No, that's.
I'll
I mean,
you with the levity.
But that's part of Eris's character.
I go deep, y'all. I'm an emotional being.
We're having a blast. We are totally for this. It's fine.
I'm also very. I feel like my hope is though that I can have like be deep and emotional about a thing, but also be light about it as well.
Yeah.
So I hope it's not draining. I hope it's like uplifting.
Yeah. When you send in like the voice, like you're all insufferable, when you send that in or whenever you're done, whether you're in person recording at Bungie Studio or whether you did the voice acting at home for that one, do you ever get feedback and everybody's just like jaw on the floor or equivalent of just like damn? Or I mean, are there those moments when you kind of deliver a performance? Has there ever been a performance that you've delivered that has elicited feedback from the people you're working with that you didn't expect or tapped into something that somebody you were working with where it hit them and you're like, I'm sorry, but also let's talk about it? Kind of like, have you ever done that?
I think I can safely say that there's been many sessions where if I'm feeling it that much, like everyone's feeling it too. We're all because everyone wants to tap into the humanity of the characters and of the stories. Well, everyone's invested. So, yeah, I think for sure. I think that I think it happens a lot. I think that everyone having a shared experience in the booth happens a lot. And when you don't expect it, because you never know. Some people have a professional hat on where they don't they feel like they need to kind of distance themselves so that they can be objective, and that's also fair and fine, but I think more often than not it's usually we're all having the experiences together.
Yeah, Trav,
what do you got? There's a curveball coming, I just know it.
Morla. Can I call you Morla?
Please, yes.
Are you familiar with the existence of the music video entitled Eris Morn Has Got It Going On?
I feel like I don't remember a video, but I do remember hearing the song. So it must have been a corresponding video. Yes. I think I am.
It was shortly after the release of The Taken King, so it would have been right after Eris Morn was introduced. So this is a long time ago. It was like 9 years ago. But
do you have a favorite line from that?
Yes, of course I do. It's
of course.
Amanda, can't you see you're just not the girl for me? Because at the time, Amanda in Destiny V1, Amanda was the heartthrob among many Destiny aficionados. But as soon as Eris Morn came out, I don't know, she had competition all of a sudden, and yeah, it was
unlikely
good.
Competition, but yeah,
I cannot hear the normal version of that song without replacing it with the lyrics.
I believe that.
I cannot. To me, it's always been Eris Morn, and it always will be. So I just want to let you know that's one way Eris Morn has affected my life in a bizarre way. I'm glad you know about it, though. I knew she was going to know about it because there's no way nobody sent that to you and was like, "Yo, like this is crazy."
I feel like my son knows that song too, which is like also kind of like
a whole. There's levels on that one.
Levels. Nice.
Oh my god, no. Yeah, he also likes what's the video that was made during Shadowkeep, Moon's Haunted. Do you know?
Oh yeah,
The
Moon's Haunted.
Moon's Haunted.
Yes.
That song, my son would walk around the house going, "Moon's Haunted." The whole he loved that video so much. He loved that.
I feel like I'd get along with your son. Seems like a cool dude. Seems like a good guy.
Dude, he's so cool. He's so awesome. He's wonderful.
And Travis, guess what class he is?
Titan.
Oh, of course.
Titan, what up?
Of course.
All right.
That may be the least cool part about him, but that's fine.
Wow. Wow.
I tried real hard to make him a hunter.
Sorry, man.
No.
Some guys.
All right, you got to be your own man. I get it.
Speaking of your son,
it's weird. Huh? Yep.
She's like, I'm listening.
As a parent, do you ever use your voice acting prowess to get through to your child, perhaps as a form of punishment? Have you ever, for example, done the Omnigul screech just to mess with them, or I don't know? Have you ever used your powers for evil? Is what I want to know.
I actually have a really funny story about
this. Oh, yes.
We struck gold.
Yeah.
We struck gold.
It was it's like one of those days where you find yourself repeating a request numerous times, and I try to just keep it very light. My voice for talking to him is often like way up here. Okay, can you please remember da da da? Don't forget the yada yada da 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 da. And then I at one point it just like it wasn't getting through, so I said, I don't want to say his name, so I'll just say Bob. And I was like, Bob said, "Don't forget the thing." And he looks at me and goes, "Don't do Eris voice on me."
Oh, we had Eris in the house.
Oh man.
was like, Bob. I don't even
Yes.
remember what I said. Like, son. I don't even remember how I said it, but he was like, don't do Eris voice on me. Okay.
Oh man.
Oh, there we go.
I wasn't trying to.
Oh,
I was
I would
just
abuse
trying
that so
to
hard.
make myself heard.
You got his attention real quick.
She's not scary. He's like, don't do it. Please don't do Eris voice. Okay.
I love
She just
that.
means business. There's a difference. She
Yeah,
just
it's
means
She's
here to get
serious.
shit done.
She's very serious. Like, she's
Exactly.
not gonna waste time
hmm
repeating herself.
Exactly. No, this is great. I love that he drove so much fear or uncomfortability with that.
He was quite young at the time.
I was
too,
gonna say,
so,
you said he's 11 now?
he's 11 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he isn't in the teenage years. That's where the insufferable comes in.
Mhm.
You can pull that one back out for the teenage years. At some point, you
Right.
can just let him know he's insufferable. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think-
because I guess like when I very first started working on Destiny at all was like 2012? Didn't it?
yeah, 2014 it came
Well,
out.
he was-
So yeah.
Maybe it was 2013. That would make sense, like 2013. But yeah, he was just the baby.
Oh, man.
That's awesome. That's cool because it's like I love to hear that type of story because, again, with your start, and I think it's safe to say, all of us, that the Hive are the most interesting race. They're the most, I would say, popular out of all the enemy factions with Destiny. Whenever there's a Hive DLC, Hive expansion season, we kind of raise up because we know what's going to happen. Like, how does it feel that like you are part of that? You are literally, in a sense, the screeching, the uncomfortability, and of course the iconic character that is Eris. Like, how does it feel to know that your enemy faction that you're most associated with, right, is literally one of the most popular in the game?
I mean, I didn't know that I knew that. I think, I love the work that I did on it, and I love the story behind it, and where it led, and I am for sure super incredibly proud of it. I know that I'm doing something right when I get the response after like launch, when it's like, oh, Eris is back, and it just really fills my heart. Like, you don't even know. It's like, I love you too, and I get very and I read, and I really make a point because it really matters to me. Like, every single person, I try to respond at least in some capacity to absolutely everybody who says congratulations or I'm glad you're back. Like, I really, really, I do love this community. I feel like it's like I just want to let it's a lot. It's such a, it can feel overwhelming in the best possible way. And but I appreciate every single message that comes through. And it means so much to me. It really, really does. I am, what the performance, the whatever. It's like, if it's not loved by the community, if it's not then, like, if it's not getting people excited, if it's not getting Guardians excited about it, then like, oh, then I have failed. I have failed my job. And so it really means so much to me that Guardians in particular, for all this, it's like, this is for all games, but for Guardians in particular, it means
Of course,
so much
of course.
to me.
That's why we love you. That's why we love you. And to see, that journey is tremendous. It's really tremendous. And my quick follow-up question to that was kind of like, you know, I have a couple of friends who are really fascinated by voice acting, and you know, seeing your journey, and you gave some good advice earlier about kind of like, you know, surrendering and just, you know, being yourself as opposed to what you think they're looking for. What other advice would you give like an aspiring, a new person trying to get in the field and they say, you know what, I love the idea of voicing a character, and you know, what advice would you give to someone kind of trying to get their foot in the door to get started in this career? Because it seems a lot of work. It seems to be a lot to it, and a lot of, you know, your journey especially, you know, you put in a lot of work, and obviously the GDC story and everything else, but like, yeah, just in general, like what advice do you give to someone kind of getting started?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I was just at a little get together, and there happened to be it wasn't for voiceovers, but there happened to be 3 voiceover actors there, and we were just talking about games and like, oh, this game was so exciting, and this woman who was listening in, she's like, I don't understand like games, like what do you voiceover, like what, I don't get it. I'm like, oh yeah, voiceover for games. And she's like, and she said something along the lines of like, um but is it like acting?
Oh,
I'm like,
oh,
Oh
uh
man.
oh,
like, oh yeah, it's not like acting. I mean, it is acting.
yeah.
A little bit.
Very, very much acting. And she was just so like, she just so didn't know. So it's, I say that in order to like a common misconception is that it's, I will do this voiceover to, because it's a way to get into other kinds of acting. It's like it's the easy ramp onto
Oh,
thing. And so it's like, well, it is its own very unique set of skills. So um and it deserves its own unique kind of attention and focus. Um so I guess the answer to the question is, you know, decide, like, if you do want to be a voice actor, then understand that it is hard work, and it is a specific set of skills, and it is 100% the entirety of like what I do to prepare for an onstage role is the same that I do to prepare for a voiceover role. And because it is a full body, it is a full body experience. Think that because it's like you're in a booth and you're like not supposed to move. It's like, but you're still, even if you choose to be completely still in the booth, which I often don't. I like to move around a lot. But even if I
I can
chose
see
to
that.
be complete, what do
What?
you mean?
Yeah, it's just a wild guess that I felt. You're very expressive.
But even if I chose to be very still in the booth, I would still be engaging my whole body. Like it would be fully activated. So I would say, start with some acting classes of any kind. Start with acting classes, and then like just get used to the sound of your voice. Record yourself often and get used to the sound of your voice, and then from there, learn how to understand your range, and then play with characters within that range, and then eventually start to expand your range and you know, stretch and see. But really just get used to spending time in the booth and facing that, you know, conjuring image in a void, in a total, just without, hopefully you get information in ahead of time for your session. You know, hopefully you have something to look at that you can reference. Hopefully the script is going to give you all sorts of insights, you know.
This sounds difficult.
But oftentimes it's not. And you know, sometimes they'll have like another actor's line that they can play you in, so you have something to react off of. Sometimes the director will speak you in, they'll give you the line just so you have something to respond to. But oftentimes it's not. So it's get used to being your most creative self without any input, and also simultaneously don't judge that creative self.
That is awesome advice. I didn't realize that.
I mean,
Man, that's
hey, look, we can
Anyways.
all relate in some degree. Like, I know I do VO for my reviews, right? And I think Ebontis does it for videos. That's hard enough. That's hard enough when you're just being yourself, dude.
Yep.
Being in a booth. The first time I was in a booth for VO at IGN, the video producer said that my take wasn't good enough, and they had somebody else record it because I just didn't know what I was doing, right? And so it's one of those things where you have to. Yeah, no, they did. They gave me a second chance, and I now I'm super comfortable with it. But it is like so taxing. Like I read like 5 paragraphs for the first part of a review, and like usually I'm like sweating, my voice hurts, I'm like moving a lot. I have to like make sure I wear something loose because you don't want to hear the sound of the shirt rubbing when you're moving your arms and stuff like that. I take off my watch, all that stuff that you have to think about, but it's very taxing. So I think we can all relate to the craft and difficulty of it. Yeah, and I almost feel like because you don't have the I was gonna say, because you don't have the visual part of it, you almost have to like put everything into just the audio performance. And I feel like that's even like it's like you're just pushing as hard as you can on one lever, the only lever you have access to, which is the audio part of it. And that's like it's different when you have like people can see your face, so you maybe don't have to go as hard with your voice. So
well, and being yourself is like the hardest. It's the hardest thing to be. It's like being yourself, knowing that you're being perceived.
Yes.
Is so hard.
Mm-hmm. You
can't help but
vulnerable.
like be something other than yourself. There's a lot of training that goes into this. The thing with like actors is like the hardest thing for an actor to do is to walk across a stage and sit down on a chair just as themselves. Because it's like you just immediately want to go like, I am something
put on
better.
Something. That's a good point.
It's like a performance. So
it's also you putting yourself out there, because you talked about improv, and I've heard people say that about improv being hard, because if you have a script, at least you can blame whatever you're doing on, it's my character, or the script said it. But if you're doing improv, it's all coming out of your head. It's like your ideas, and you're worried about like people judging you because you made a choice or a character or whatever. And so it does give you more vulnerability. But I mean, voice acting's hard, man.
It all comes back to the trust and the surrender.
That's right.
Yeah, no, right. It's big. I agree. I think this is tremendous, because the other part of it, which you're helping me understand, is also I guess I think from your perspective, or someone starting, they put their heart out, right? And then the director's like, nah, that's not it. so like the ego and the emotion of, okay, well, what let me go somewhere else, maybe change up or whatever. I think that would be my struggle if I ever got into it, kind of thing. And to hear you say it, obviously go to acting classes and obviously, be yourself and things of that nature. That's a tough business. I got to give you all the credit. Like, this is tough. You are putting yourself out. It is, he said it best, the vulnerability of it, right? And then when you, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I heard in a previous podcast I listened to that you were on, where you are selling yourself. It is the hardest sales job in the world, because when it comes to, I'm not trying to sell a product, I'm trying to sell me. So when that rejection comes in, whether it's tens, hundreds, or thousands of times over the course of a career, it is hard to not take that into personally, or to be able to brush it off and not doubt yourself. And as you said, if you're going to be yourself and you lay all of you out there, and then they're like, nope, we don't want that. It's hard not to take, like, really personally, but that's also what it takes to be an actor, is to turn around and see the next job as another opportunity to do it again. And that's so difficult. But when you're wearing what I was saying, it's like, it's emotionally taxing. And then whether you get into the physical nature of it, whether you're moving or not, or it's like you're your mouth is right here, but you're like everything else is moving to get what you're trying to get done. You do all of that, and they're like, "No, I think we're gonna go somewhere else." You're like, "Oh my god!" Like that's kind of one of those things, and that's what Travis said for voiceover, for podcast, for videos that we do. It's a piece of it because we're doing some content and those things, but yours is just everything is poured into this microphone, and it means so much. And that's kind of, I mean, when you said one of the things that I think I heard you say is there were thousands of jobs you didn't get outside of the ones you did get. Sure. And it's to tell somebody it's like there were thousands you didn't get. That's something somebody potentially should know, because that's a lot to have to go through. It's tough.
You don't even want to see my desktop right now. Full of like the auditions that like I didn't get, right?
That's the real.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's the job. That's auditioning is more the job than the job. You know, and at least initially, right?
Yeah,
and then for a long time, and you know, and maybe always, I don't know. I'll let you know when I reach always. And so, but it's
yeah, like applying for work is like the worst part of getting a job, like having a job. Like if you said, "Hey Travis, I'll pay you 6 figures, but your job is applying for other jobs," I'd be like, "That's not worth it, dude." That's like the worst part of work is the applying part. So yeah, acting is like oops all applications, right? Like you're constantly you're just
oops all applications. That's good.
That was good. That's actually
terrible. Yeah, so hats off to you for doing that. Speaking of roles you didn't get, is there any
please.
Is there any
yeah, please bring this up.
Please, let's talk about the failure.
Look, I shared my failures. We're all talking, right? Are there any series that not even necessarily you tried to be a part of, but anyone that's just on your like dream list of like, if I could work on this franchise or this series in games or in voice acting, I would want to do it. Like, you know, Cog wants to voice Batman, you know. Is there anything like that where you're just like, I want to do that voice?
I do want to be a superhero. I really do. I want to be I want to be like a superhero that just, you know, happens to be a mom. Like that's not like the thing, right? It's not like she's a superhero and she's a mom. It's just like
how does she do it?
Yeah, right. Like no, it's just like she's a superhero and P.S. she's a mom, right?
Like Wonder Woman, and she has a daughter.
Yeah. I feel like just the kind of the glimpsing what I kind of saw from the Death Stranding 2 trailer at the Video Game Awards. I'm like, yeah, like her. Like I think that role's taken now, but yeah, like her.
I mean,
like
Kojima got called my girl. She's in part 1. Let's go.
They also do. Now. Those actors also do their own mocap. Have you ever done your own mocap for a part you've played?
Oh yeah, I mean, I did for Eris for the Hive transition. Like I did a performance capture for that. So, but yes, I do. I do performance capture. It's my favorite. It's the best because it's like, you know, my degree is in theater, and so it's just like coming back to theater. It's like theater all over again. It's full circle. It makes it all full circle. Nice. But I do love it, and it's its own set of challenges, but it's so exciting because you're just like seeing nothing, and you are just it's like doing theater in an empty black box theater where it's just like you and another actor, and like everything else is imagined or it doesn't exist, and it's really just completely about the connection and the relationship and, you know, feeding off of each other and your energy, and so there's no distractions of like, look at this fancy thing over here or this set dressing over here, and like all those are very important aspects of theater, and like I don't begrudge anybody their full gorgeous lush sets, but like there's something about having none of it.
Yeah.
And now what? It's just you know.
Its focus is
So
almost
seeing
more
the,
on the performance.
I'm gonna introduce a concept here. It's
Okay,
about
Let's go.
trust and surrender.
Okay.
Nah. The theme.
I knew that was gonna. I knew she was gonna.
No, I
Season of the
Did you
Witch.
see the Did you see the Vidoc for like Hellblade? Like I know you work in that space, so it probably doesn't matter to you, but that was sort of a lot of people's like first in-depth look at how performance and mocap and like all that stuff works, and that was really eye-opening because that's crazy stuff, to especially such a serious subject matter, and you're just like, you know, you've got like a camera hovering over your face and paint all over you, and just that there's so many obstacles you have to act through to make that work. It's really interesting. Yeah.
I had to like feign like making out with somebody once in one of those. Like what like this team called for. It's like, how do we do with the so it's like a whole like way that you have to like kind of
That's that future season with the Drifter. Oh, okay, we get exclusive.
Yeah, we knew it. We knew it.
Someone you had to make out with, but you couldn't figure it out.
Now we know what the final shape is. 2 lips.
Oh my god.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, too funny.
That's great.
Mine's kind of like, I asked my brother and my wife, and they had very similar questions, which cracked me up. And they wanted to ask you, is there anything about when it comes to your performance? And I know you said you like performance capture, so that could be part of the answer. But when it comes to doing that, is there a certain microphone setup, a certain booth, whether it's just your closet, what is your kind of like favorite space to do your work, or spaces that you've worked in when you're doing any of this, and why?
Well, I like to have space to move. I gotta like make sure my elbows are free at least.
Gotta stretch.
So I like to take. I mean, whatever. I'll adapt to any space. So I don't think I ever want to get too particular, because then like I'll wind up being disappointed or something. Like you just like find the space and like whatever the microphone set is. Sometimes it's like where the cap, like they do like the little mocap caps, and they have like little microphones here so that you don't. Those are particularly great for me as a actor who moves a lot. So that allows me the freedom to move more. But I, the with a stationary mic is great. I just want to make sure that I have near access to my water, my tea, my coffee, my apple, my chapstick. I keep those
the essentials.
Things very.
Those
very
are the 5
near.
things you need to be a voice actor.
There we go. We're getting game right now. These are essentials.
Those are the essentials for me. Yeah. And then like I like to keep all my stuff far, far away from me on a chair far away, so I can kind of like step away and come back to it, the mic as needed.
Nice. This is amazing stuff. Really. Yeah, thank you for this. This is tremendous. I love
my
to hear
goodness.
this process.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Really cool job. Sorry.
Yeah.
Trav, you need to jump in? Or are you good?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, my fault. I didn't want to interrupt you. No, I just want to thank you because yeah, this is tremendous. And again, we're learning that it's more. It's a process, and then there's so many involved with creating a character, right? It's so many pieces to it, and this is really, really amazing. And I'm just thankful that you like. This is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for like kind of lifting the veil off of it, getting some insight, and just having some fun, having a conversation about feelings is nice.
Absolutely. So yeah,
Yeah.
I know
Thank
I'm
you all so
excited.
much.
Oh, absolutely. I know I'm excited to see Eris's journey, and we were a little worried. We didn't think she was going to make it. I'll be honest.
Some of us were a little.
We season in which we thought it might be a conclusion. We didn't know how that heavyweight matchup was gonna go, and then what's my man, the little the annoying ghost that was always saying
Imaru?
Imaru. Yes, Imaru didn't have nice things to say about you, but you checked him. You let him know.
That was fun.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was see another side. It's just like that, like kind of sassy zinger.
Yes.
Oh.
If Eris does die, do you think they'll add a U to her last name?
Oh my god.
Definitely.
Travis keeping it interesting.
Love it. I'm here for it.
My Pulitzer Prize winning questions here. Hard hitting
No.
journalism.
So
You
here's the
can
question,
expect-
and this, I'm not trying to like break any NDAs, but would you, you've done voice, now you've done mocap.
What does she do in Final Shape? Is what he's asking. What is Eris
Right,
do?
right.
100%.
He wants-
No,
tell
Tell
her.
you.
would
What
you,
happened?
Oh, by the way.
would you ever, if the opportunity arose, would you ever want to play live action Eris Morn?
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
Just
It's a
one.
musical.
Yeah.
It's Destiny on Ice.
In fact, if we can get that hashtag going, like that, along with the Funko situation, like if we can get those things sorted out,
Funko, need a
Morla
live action
as live
Destiny.
action Eris and Eris Funko, like yeah, I think I'd be able to be like, anything else I do from here out will be gravy, because that would be I've had the experience of being the full embodiment of Eris, and I can tell you I would love some more. And we happen to kind of weirdly look alike anyway, so it's
The third eye is really what sells
Yeah,
it.
It's right there.
I put concealer over it, so you
Okay.
It's
You're just really concentrated on keeping it shut so it doesn't like pop open like Doctor Strange. So
really hard. It's really hard. Yeah.
That's funny. My final one for fun is this. I love when you pronounce hive names. Like I think it. Hashladoon and all. Yeah, like when you get. How often do people harass you to talk in Eris voice? Like I know you terrorized your son when he's acting up, but how often?
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Like I want to know how you at GCX. We at GCX. How often are you asked to speak in Eris?
Not that often.
Really?
Really?
Oh,
I figured there'd be like 1,000 voicemails out there that are like, "This is Eris," you know. Really?
Oh, can I
everyone's very, very respectful about it. And I'm pretty sure that, especially, what was it? I think it was a it was before, and I know it's not called Guardian Con anymore, but I forgot.
Yeah.
But it was Guardian Con at the time.
It was Guardian Con at the time.
Yep.
I think it was pre-Guardian Con that Deej made a point to like tell people like, don't do it, don't ask her to do it. And so I think everyone's like, oh, okay. But a couple times.
Deej, my guy Deej.
Yeah. And that's like kind of also like the whole what is it called? The thing where you leave like messages for people.
Oh,
Cameo?
I know what you're talking about. Yes,
Like
yes,
their outgoing voicemail or something like
Cameo.
Yeah, like
He's
that
talking
kind
about
of
Cameo.
Cameo, yeah.
It's like one of the things like I've never really wanted to ever do that because it's one thing to like, in person like throw out a line that Eris has said, but like for me to like do Eris's voice on a birthday message feels like I don't feel
That's not your lane.
It doesn't feel canon to me.
You can't. You say happy birthday, LordCognito. You. That's a little out of pocket for Eric.
Yeah.
I can't like it. Just and it. I don't know. It feels like
Worked for Savathun.
No, but this is a good discussion because as far as the let's say like the ethics or, just what your principles are, right, in reference to it versus, some people who feel like, hey, voice actors need to find ways for revenue. I think it's a fair discussion and seeing both sides of it.
And I mean, it's like, right. It is for me personally. It just doesn't feel like I feel like talking about Eric, like talking about the journey, talking about my experiences. My attempt is to kind of bring her closer to the community in a way that still honors the story, that honors all the people that create her. And I feel like for me, like doing Eris voice on something that isn't actual Eris text just kind of I feel like it takes away from that. It brings her closer, but in like this kind of other way that, maybe that will be disruptive to future stories with her.
Gotcha.
Right? Like they'll see like, they'll be experiencing her in game, but like thinking about like the time that she like said happy birthday, it's just like, I don't know, it just feels like I like her living in, that's where she lives. She lives
the purity of it.
Yeah. It also feels like the wrong character. Like the Drifter, I expect to hear him on people's voicemails. That's his whole, what I mean?
All right.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Not Eris. Eris is too sad to care about if it's your birthday.
She would write a letter. She wouldn't. Like she would like do. I feel like she would do like some sort of calligraphy type poem.
Wax seal, Pony Express. I mean, the whole 9 yards. Absolutely.
Birthdays are irrelevant.
You're older.
I got it. I'm good. There it is. I can die now. I am good. That was I internalized that as my birthday.
There you go.
You did it all right. I'm good.
She has thought about it though. That was not off the cuff. She's like, you're older. She had that. She was like, what if I had to?
Love it.
One that I wanted to actually ask was just being a performer in any and all aspects of being an actor. Are there people that have inspired you, drawn from, want to work with, other actors out there that you look up to, want to work with, think for, just kind of big people have been part of your life that either you've seen performances, look up to, or that you have to thank for any and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I was Mass Effect. And it was I believe it was like Mass Effect 2. And that's where Joker.
Yes.
Jack. Is it Jack? Is it Jack or Joker? It's Joker. Courtney Taylor's character in Mass Effect.
No, I'm in an emotional state. You said one of my
Mass
favorite
Effect 2
games
is one of his favorite games of all time.
Literally you said the correct Mass Effect. Like I'm in an emotional, happy place. You took me somewhere. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, I remember that witnessing her performance, like, wow, that is like such a cool character. And it was this
Jack. Yeah.
Oh, Jack from Mass Effect 2. Sorry. Correct. Jack. Yes.
I knew. I said
Jack. Yeah, Joker's the ship. Yeah, sorry. Jack. Sorry.
The prisoner. Yeah.
Yes.
Jack.
Jack's awesome.
Yes. Amazing. Like I remember witnessing that character and just like that's wow, that is exactly such a cool kind of not your typical, like very atypical, just very different than anything else I was seeing in games, and like irreverent and strong, and like this kind of a mystery, and just like all this internal emotional like stuff going on. So like it's kind of very
nice.
You can see a parallel, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, I loved her performance. And yeah, I mean, I'm like feeling very like hard pressed for names now, but I think about games, like specific games that have spoken to me that I've felt very moved and drawn in by, and like Fallout 3 is another one where I just
Ooh.
absolutely I love that game immensely, and there's a game called Everybody's Gone to the Rapture that I adored. It's
Great game.
by the Chinese Room. Incredible game. Like it never really got the buzz that it deserved. But the performances in that were amazing. Just things that are just unusual, and like I love stuff that's like a juxtaposition. So I love the view of the wasteland with the cheeriness of the licensed music that's coming through the radio. Like I love that juxtaposition, and
Yeah.
it like does something to me internally. And the same thing with the Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. It's this quiet, serene little British town, and there's like weird, strange, eerie, like like a watching a scary movie during the day, like that kind of vibe. Oh, it's the best. I love it.
Nice.
I love the weird. I love weird juxtapositions, and the more disparate, the better.
Awesome.
By the
But yeah,
way,
in my life and the people that I know and that I love, that I just there's so many people, there's so many gorgeous, beautiful voice actors that I work with, and I look to all my fellow voice actors for inspiration and and um and I love that about our community, is that
Yeah.
we are there for each other in that way. Um like in a way that I don't know that it exists in other
Mhm.
types of acting and other genres of acting. It's like the way that we show up for each other is it's worth the price of admission right there.
Absolutely. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. I
speaking
love it.
of speaking of fellow voice actors,
Mhm.
have you ever worked with Keith David before, and are you excited to do so now that he's joining the Destiny cast? Because
I
that's
have
kind of
not
exciting.
worked with him before. I
Oh,
haven't,
one of my
but
favorites.
yeah.
Halo 2? Come on, the
Oh,
I
Arbiter?
haven't.
Arbiter,
Were it so easy?
Mass
I love
Effect.
He's in
well,
Community.
I've not worked with him in those. I mean, I'm definitely familiar with the character, especially Arbiter. Halo holds a very special place in my heart too.
Woo!
Yes.
But
MVP, Morla.
what's that?
No, I'm just calling you the MVP. Continue. Never mind me. I'm
But
just giving you praise all the
You're
time.
just holding up signs over there. MVP.
but I have not worked with him, and so what a beautiful choice though, right? Like I love
Yes. Yes.
that's really nice. That's
Yeah.
really it's a very elegant, tasteful, classy, right choice.
At
Yeah.
100%.
If anyone could step up, it's him. Like
Yeah.
his support of the gaming community extends to back when
Mhm.
voice acting in games was kind of an afterthought. A lot of times it was done
Mhm.
by developers and they weren't really a thing. And at that time, he was still. I feel like we owe a lot. The industry owes a lot to him and some of those early pioneers in voice acting. So
Mhm.
100%.
it's cool. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to hear his voice.
Yeah.
Good one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else,
Yeah.
gentlemen?
JS Gilbert is another one. He's another
Oh,
one of
okay.
those like early guys. He used to just cold call developers, be like, "Hey, I understand you are getting the guy down the hall to do this voice." It's like, "I'll do it for you,"
Ooh.
you know? Like, and so
Mhm.
yeah, he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah,
those
pioneers.
Twisted
those
Metal, I
pioneer
think.
type folks. Yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
needed, right? Because to see how the industry is going, and obviously, there's a lot of money to be made, but at the same time, respecting the craft, and if we really, I think, seeing the talents of the pioneers, and then obviously trickle down to you. It shows the importance of good voice acting. It shows the importance of how much it adds to the game, the character, and how much we connect, right? Because they're like, no, that's my character right there. It's a different level, and it's important what Travis said, because not to throw any developer under the bus and stuff like that, but or publishers, but the devaluing in the past, right? And now them realize, hey, if you hire some good talent, this will add a different type of connection to this game, right? And thus you see people, how much you're beloved. Oh, boy, Ball is in town. This is it's a thing. It's a vibe, right? And it's so cool to see the journey of the industry, and that's why we love to kind of pay respect to that, because at one point, it wasn't the thing that the publishers were looking for and stuff like that. And I love to see that transformation, the evolution of where things are now, and
Some publishers. Some
And
publishers
maybe-
still are pretty late to the game. Like Nintendo just started embracing voice acting. With Tears of the Kingdom, they put
Yeah,
real
that was a
voice
big
actors in
deal.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was a big deal, because
That's a
before
big
they would just
deal.
not have voices, for a really long time. So
Absolutely.
And maybe continue to see that, the honoring and the value of actors, and what individual actors have to offer over other alternatives.
Exactly.
Fair, totally fair.
I see what you did there. I like that.
Yeah.
right.
But it's for me, when I'm sitting there, I've told these guys or whatever, but it's like there are certain games that you'll go through, and when you get that emotional connection, it sticks with you more. You remember it more vividly. You're going to tell your friends that this game affected me, and all of these things come. A lot of the ones that do that are the ones, as you said, have the actors that do exactly what you do. They give everything they can, and it comes through. And then when you're sitting there experiencing that game, it's a special moment that you're going to remember. And sometimes people take it for granted, or forget that there's someone behind that doing what you're doing and giving so much to each one of these, just every single word. I know we talked about it before we actually got to it. It was like linguistics and words are something you're really passionate about, language and everything. So when you get a script, you learn it, and when you dissect every one of those words, then when it gets all the way to us, and when it has the impact that it does, it's like I want to reach through the screen and give that person a hug, because like what it does for it does sometimes. Because there's times I'll be playing a game and all of a sudden like a game is making me crying. What is happening right now? And it's kind of one of those, when those type of moments happen, they stick, and it's kind of one of those I win. That's why it's to you and to all of those who do what you do. It's thank you, because
Thank you.
I was like, I don't know how else to say it besides like thank you for what you guys do, because the stories that can be told for all of the work that you guys put in, it's amazing. And couldn't have some of the experiences that I've had the last decade, wouldn't be what it is without specifically the ones sitting here with us tonight.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Can I get an ayat?
Yes, ayat. I second that. Absolutely, E. Well said. Well said.
Oh my goodness, y'all. This has been really, really lovely. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Absolutely.
Thank you for taking the time with us.
Thanks for joining.
This is amazing.
We know you are a busy lady.
We know you're
Yes.
busy, and the gems you dropped were tremendous. Continue to do what you do. Continue to be that bright light in the industry, that positive energy that we need. And then,
Same to you all as well.
you.
I mean, you are clearly, incredibly very loved, and your subscribers adore you, and you are also a great light in this community, all of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Well, the floor is yours. If you can, I don't know if you get to tell anybody what you're working on, because you probably can't, but if you have anything that you can talk about. I was like, that's hard. Yeah, I was like, I figured not. Yeah, where can people find you and support you then, and look for what's coming?
Yes. Well. Yes.
Oh dear. I am sometimes on the Twitters, which I will continue to call Twitter. I'm sorry. I just can't. I just
same.
And I think I think I'm at actor_Morla for that. And I'm also on the Instagrams, but that's mostly just like pictures of something that catches my eye. So it's more like aesthetic. But that's at Morla Vox.
Nice. No doubt. Again, tremendous. The
And
legendary.
like on the other ones too, but like whatever. I'm doing things. I'm busy. I'm trying not to be on the social medias too much. But if you are on there and you say hi, I will for sure say hi back, because I am grateful for the community, for sure.
No doubt. We're grateful for you. Thank you so much. Again, like he said, for taking the time and your schedule. You got a lot of stuff going on. We've been trying to schedule this for some time, and it's truly a treat. Truly. We did it. Truly a treat. Thank you so much. I look forward to your journey. Continue to follow your journey and see where it takes you. And obviously, you have all of the support of the last word. Trav, anything you want to say to Morla while we get her going?
You're awesome. Thanks for answering my stupid questions.
Your stupid questions were awesome and not stupid at all.
And I want to eat your jambalaya someday. I have Nami's jambalaya. It's got to happen.
Cajun and the Creole.
Yeah,
that's right.
bring it.
That's right.
You got to do one of each. You got to do one of each. See which one you like. And then for me, it's an absolute pleasure. We've enjoyed the past decade of getting to know Eris and being part of your journey with her, and we can't wait for all you've got going forward, because I do feel like in gaming, this medium is able to tell even better emotional stories, and I just can't wait to see what you get to tell us next.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, on that note, I think that's where we're going to wrap this one up. Chat, you guys have been amazing. Obviously, please go, follow her, support her, and just send love out in the world for an amazing night with a wonderful, wonderful lady.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody. It has been
the last
word.
I'm like, we